Good morning from Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester. Panhandle Outdoors, your source for fishing, hunting, and information for folks who enjoy the great outdoors. Now sit back, relax. It's Panhandle Outdoors.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to Panhandle Outdoors. I'm Winston Chester. Glad to hear this Monday morning. What a way to start the week on America's only daily outdoor TV show. We just talk about so many outdoor stuff, and it's such an area we live in. We can just keep doing that day after day after day. So here we are. Got a special guest here in the studio. But first, our weather brought to us by Haney Technical Center. High today's only going to get up to 86, so it's going to got a little bit of cool snap going on. Low tonight 78. Water temperature is still hanging in there at 88 degrees. Marine forecast now be the wind becoming south-southeast. Moon phase, on a Monday moon phase, it is waning. We had a full moon last Monday and Tuesday of last week, so about a week into the waning period, about halfway there to the half moon. And the big thing now, keep in mind, we're going to start the neap tide this week. And last week was strong tides, but this week, first couple of days, going to be some neap tides and not a lot of tidal movement going in today, okay? We want to make sure we're going to check with sea quarters tomorrow and see what they've been catching over there. I missed the chance to talk to them this past weekend, so we're going to call them tomorrow. Okay, let's go ahead and take our break. We'll be right back. Welcome back, and welcome to guests we've had on before. Kenny Bostic, good morning.
Good morning, Winston.
Kenny's been on before. We talked a lot about turkey hunting, okay? I know you love it.
I love it.
But today we're going to talk about something else, and it's near and dear to all of us, and that's our jetties out there. And so let's go ahead and get started on it. I was not aware of this until you called me. We started talking. You sent me some pictures, and but let's talk about the background of the jetties and all. We know the past was cut in 1933-34. So let's take it. I know we weren't around then, but we've been around a long time.
Yeah, as I've been taking my grandkids out there swimming, they come down and spend a few weeks with us every year. We go out to the kiddie pool, along with a lot of people.
So many of us have done that, generation after generation. We've gone as kids, we've taken our kids, now we're taking grandkids.
Right.
Everybody uses that.
And I've noticed that the rocks are just disappearing. And, you know, and now everybody says, well, one person can't matter. But I believe one person can matter. So I've been starting to dive into the problems, the solutions, and just as a concerned pawpaw, as I tell them at the commission meetings.
Now you've been going to county commission meetings. I mean,
I've been going to the commission meetings. I went to the restore meetings. This is the meetings that they're just trying to decide how to distribute the BP money.
Yeah.
So, and everybody wants a piece of the pie, and I understand that. But anyway, so we've been taking the grandkids out there, and I've just noticed where they have come from when I was a kid to where the jetties are now. And I'm just a concerned citizen. And what I tell them at the meetings is every one of them almost up there has a boat. And I imagine yourself, Winston, it would be hard to count the number of trips you made in and out that pass this year. Well, the dredging, I believe, is one of the biggest culprits to bring the ships into the port. Not that it's needed, not that it isn't needed, because it is. But yet, and then I've contacted the Corps engineers through the commissioners, and they have wrote me a letter back, and we'll get into that a little bit later. But I just want everybody to know we can take a hold to this project, and I'm calling it Restore the Jetties. If we don't do something, they're going to slowly just go right into the past. And I'm just a concerned pawpaw.
Well, I've known Kenny a long time, and he's kind of person, he believes in something strongly, he's going to go for it, and I just admire him for, you know, he one of those stood in front of a commission by himself and have a lot of group of people behind him chanting and all that. He just went there to them and told them because he feels strong about this, and you're right about it.
It is.
This is such a vital part. It's not just taking little kids swimming. That jetties area is great snorkeling. There's so many beautiful things you can see. Fishermen use it. The whole outdoor community uses that kiddie pool area. And the big thing I worry about, we're going to show you some pictures. The two things I worry about. In fact, we had a drowning last year where a boat come over there, causes a big wave, and the jetties can't break the big wave, and they go right on into the pool. And then when the wave goes in, the undertow's going to come back out.
Right.
So that's got to be a problem.
Yep.
And of course, the second thing, the sharks just get in there really fast now. So
It is.
Yeah, so you're seeing that.
I've been talking to some of the people, and they say on certain days they even have to close the kiddie pool because of sharks. But it's just amazing how we're all looking at it and nobody is doing anything about it.
Yeah.
We all point the finger to the next guy down the road or kick the can down the road, and nothing is being done about it. And it's just slowly, the rocks are slowly going into the past.
Yeah, and the thing about it, the money's there now. With that restore money, I mean, that's amazing, folks, that the amount of money that BP is giving this area, and people are just, everybody's got, there are even private businesses.
Yeah, oh yes.
Private businesses that not owned by private businesses, and they're getting money from public money for it should all go to public. I mean, it should go to something like this.
It's just amazing what I was down there, and I'm just a pawpaw, but there was attorneys, there was all kind of people representing different groups, and I know everybody has got a need and they've got a want, but I think we need to really look at exactly how we spend this BP money. I don't know if the jetties is the exact place to put the money, but we need to get the money from somewhere and restore the jetties before we lose the jetties.
Yeah.
And what gets me is one of the groups that was down there was also trying to reopen the old path.
Yeah.
And they're wanting to spend like $1 million to do the research on it. Not that that isn't a good project also.
Well, why research it?
Right.
I mean, we know.
And plus, they're going to have to put enough money in it. If they do decide to open the old pass, they're going to have to shore it up or it won't stay open.
That's
so it's a big project
well,
also.
There's a huge amount of money out there. And I really, the first thing I would see, and it comes from my background, I wish they would take some of that restore money for legitimate uses, like put every school in the Florida Panhandle that was affected by BP, every school put some kind of outdoor education program in it. They could pay for that.
Yes.
That's a trivial amount of money to them to do that. They could do that. So anyway, we're going to start looking at restore money. Let's take a break. We'll come back and look at some of these pictures that Kenny has taken and some old pictures too. So we'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. Sitting with Kenny Foster talking about something near and dear to our heart, the Panama City St. Andrews State Park here, and it's the kiddie pool, and it's deteriorating, and Kenny's going to try to get something done. So you wrote a letter. Well, tell us about this letter.
Well, I went to the Bay County Commissioners, and they were really nice, and they shot a letter off to the Corps engineers because we all believe, and they probably are, responsible for the past. But the problem is I've got a letter here, and I'm going to read just a few excerpts of it. And it's from the civil engineer at the site manager at the Corps Engineers. And he says, "This is an issue I've been fighting for quite some time. We've been documenting the deterioration of the jetties for a while now and recognize that they need extensive repairs." He went on to say that the last maintenance was done in 1998. Our biggest challenge is lack of funding, in that our routine operation and maintenance funding level is barely enough to keep the channel dredged. And he goes on to say the quickest solution would be to get a line item in Congress. But he says this is a political year and it's not very popular to do that anymore. And he said what we need is channel shoaling is what he calls it. And he says that if we do not have a hurricane this year, that he feels like he'll have enough funding to do the plans, but that's it. So we need to get our community behind it. When I was at one of the meetings, Gwen Graham's representative came and talked to me, and he said that if I could get a letter together along with pictures, and I'm going to try to get a drone video of the jetties and give to her, that she is definitely on board to try to get something put through Congress that we can get some money. But he goes on here to say that he's tried different avenues to get the funding. He said maybe down the road he could get it, but it's not guaranteed.
Yeah.
And you know, as the old saying goes, the more grease that's on the wheel, you won't hear it. But when it gets dry, things happen.
Yeah. Well, good. You got it going good. You got to start it out off really good. And to appreciate something, you always got to look at the history of it. I guess y'all have heard that from me before, but got some old black and white pictures. Kenny sent us some pictures. You went down to the library.
I went down to the library.
Got some pictures. So let's take a look at these pictures right here. This first one here, Is it actually being, tell us about this picture, Kenny.
Well, this is just a dredge that, or I guess a crane that was in 1937 when they started building and restoring the path.
This is actually restoration. They started in 34, but they found out right away, this is interesting, 'cause I've read the history of it. They found out right away they wanted to maintain this for several years. Year after year they had to maintain it. So right here, this picture, this is them actually building it.
Right.
And look, what's that in the background back there? Old boat coming in?
Yeah, old steamer coming through.
Old steamer coming in. It might have been a tarpon.
And they had to build rails down it to get the big stones all the way out to the end of the path.
Yeah, real interesting here. And look at that boat.
Yeah, that was in 1970, that picture. And you can see the jetties were in good shape then. And pretty well on the Gulf side, from the beach out, they're still in good shape. And I was noticing in some of the pictures, they actually put, years ago, there was a lot of pavement or old asphalt that held the rocks together. But over the years, it's deteriorated. Here's some other ones that...
some of the families, generation after generation, families have used this. Okay, this is interesting too.
Yep.
The old swimming lessons.
It is. When I grew up here, I'm 67, and I've lived here my whole life. And it was amazing. I was telling Winston that when we were kids, nobody had a swimming pool. Dr. Corbett, as far as I know, was the only one in Panama City that had a swimming pool. Mm-hmm. And we were very fortunate if Joe would invite us to go over and go swimming. But they would come to the different grammar schools in the summer. I went to Oakland Terrace. They would come up there and pick a busload of us up and take us out to the kiddie pool, and that's where we all learned how to swim.
And you see the lessons right here. I mean, you learn how to kick right here.
Yep.
I mean,
and if you look in the very back of it, you can see the rocks well above the water level. In fact, I think maybe one of the next pictures will even show the. You can see it there.
Yeah, you can see it right there.
That's it. And it's always been open at the very end for it to flush out. But and that's what one of the problems is now, is we're getting more and more sharks in the kiddie pools. Yeah. From what I understand, some days they even have to close the swimming area because of sharks. Yep.
Yeah, and I will go back to the swimming lesson really quick. And they went from, when they built the pool at Mosley, that's when they started. And I started teaching swimming lessons, taught them for 20 plus years. But one of the fascinating stories I heard, two of the instructors were friends of mine that taught at the jetties. And they dared each other one day, Betty Walkup and Will McRaney. Will's passed away now, but they dared each other during an hour-and-a-half lunch if they could swim across the jetties and back during lunch. And they did. They're eyewitnesses. They told me about doing it. They said they wouldn't do it again, but they flat out. Can you imagine at 11:30 in the middle of the day doing that now? But they actually swam from one jetty all the way across to the east jetty, got their breath, and swam back before the next class.
I wouldn't even want to do it in my kayak.
Betty Walker, big tennis player. Y'all have heard of Betty Walker. Okay, yeah, I wouldn't do that now anyway. So let's go back. I want to show you.
Go back to that one, Winston.
Which one?
Come on back a couple more. One more, I think. One more. You'll see how high the rocks used to be.
That's a good picture there.
Yeah, that is exactly. When I was a kid, you could walk from one end all the way to the other. Yeah. People fished off the rocks. And when people went out there scuba diving, they actually had to crawl over the rocks, and now they don't.
Yeah. And okay, so that's a big deal now. So we got some pictures here. You've taken some of these pictures.
Yeah. That is pretty well what it still looks like right there, just over from the Gulf.
Okay.
And as you come toward the bay side, it just goes completely underwater. The rocks, I would guess, are 4 to 5 foot. The water's 4 to 5 foot over the rocks. And I think if you go to the next picture, you can even see a dive flag. Yeah. And the scuba divers now, they actually get in the kiddie pool, swim out to the jetties, and swim right on into the path. A beautiful place to go. You know, we all know there's so many fish to shoot. There's a lot of pictures to take, and it's just amazing the amount of fish and wildlife that's there.
It really is. It's just fascinating. You just see all the different colors and all. But like I say, it was a big barrier. It's a protected barrier,
right?
Like a reef protection area. So that was a man-made barrier, and it just washed. And I didn't realize it was this bad until you started telling. Because I haven't been to it this year.
Yeah.
But
if I had to guess, I would say there's probably 200 or 300 yards of just water now.
Yeah.
Where there's no rocks.
What about this area right here?
This is on down a little bit. There is still, but you can even see, Winston, some of the rocks there. You can see between the rocks. So that's
Yeah.
just a few of the rocks that's left that have not washed into the pass yet.
Okay.
And then that's the end
That's
of
a good
it.
picture there, and looking at the end of it, and how it starts going down
Mm-hmm.
and all. And it's a great area
Yep.
to talk about. But you're talking about funding and all, and talking about line item and all that as far as politics. That's all well and good. But we have a situation here in Florida Panhandle where that restore money. That's the kind of stuff the restore money needs to go to, not
Yep.
these private businesses that want it for their own pockets and all.
Right.
This is for the public. So, you going to county commission meeting and all, is there a deadline on the restore application? Have they already done all that? Or
In fact, before I came on today, I read the paper, and what gets me is they call it Pot 1, Pot 2, and Pot 3 money, and that's over the next 15 years or so.
Yeah.
And they're trying to come up with different, and I'm not saying a lot of them are probably needed.
Yeah.
One of them they were talking about was Carl Gray Park.
Oh, yeah.
Trying to figure out why there's still so much fecal matter in the water, and they have to constantly close Carl Gray Park.
Now, that ain't hard to figure out.
No.
It comes from septic tanks and stormwater runoff.
Yeah, it does.
I can tell them that and save $1 million right there. So now do something about it. Okay. So.
But still, I'm just trying to get everybody on board, trying to say, just like the guy at the Corps Engineer saying, they've been watching it deteriorate, and yet there's just not the funding because it's not a politically maybe correct thing to do.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, guys, it's our way to the Gulf.
Yeah.
And if we don't take the bull by the horns and do something now, it's going to eventually wash into the pass. And we all know what happened to the old pass because the shoring went away. And but I'm just I'll just say I'm a concerned pawpaw.
Okay.
I like to have a safe place to take our grandkids.
Yep. Good point. All right, we're going to take a break and come back for our final segment with Kenny. Okay, welcome back. Let's do our fishing game time today, brought to us by Barron's Barbecue Shrimp Marinade. Some really good stuff, I promise you. Give it a try. 5:20 and 7:20 this morning, and this evening 5:46 to 7:46. That's interesting. Early morning, late afternoon. Last week, if you remember, a lot of the times were like from 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, but this week they look a lot cooler. Let's look at a picture of a boat. I promise y'all we'll try to help sell you a boat you're sending in. This is real quick. I won't give you all the details. This is from Gloria Turner. It's a 05 Key Largo, 20-foot center console, 4-stroke Yamaha. Has Garmin display, all kind of stuff. Live well, swim ladder, everything you want on a boat. I won't go with dual batteries, single axle. Boat can be seen at Bayside Marina on Panama City Beach, asking $15,900, and her reason for selling, she loves the boat, but she just wants a bigger boat. So Gloria's number is 588-8426. 588-8426. Good time of year to buy a boat. Okay, we're talking about everybody's sort of in favor of what you're talking about. Everybody's in favor of it, but nobody's committed.
Nobody wants to commit.
Yeah.
And, we all think the Corps Engineers is going to be our savior.
Yeah.
They're going to save the pass. Well, like the guy told me in his letter that he sent me, he said, we just do not have the funding.
Yeah.
And so somewhere we just need to get the funding and instead of watching it deteriorate. I guarantee you, everybody in Bay County, if you have a boat, you've been out that pass probably numerous times this year, going snapper fishing or just going out enjoying the water. I was lucky enough to get invited and went out and caught some big old snapper this year.
I saw that, yeah.
It's been years since I've been offshore, and when I was a kid, I worked on a head boat over in Destin, but I've been years since I've been offshore, and I just had a blast.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yep.
Well, we're talking about, the way to do things and all.
Right.
You're talking about Gwen Graham, who is our...
Right.
Go ahead and tell us, you got her number?
I do. I have a phone number for Gwen Graham, and I think the more of us that call and voice our opinion that we would surely like to keep our pass open. And her number, and let me tell you this, Alex Quintana, her field representative was so nice, and he came up to me at one of the commission meetings and asked me if I would shoot her a letter, and I'm going to do more than that. I'm going to take pictures, a video, I'm going to do a drone video. And if any of the divers are ever out around the pass and could take some videos from what it looks like under the water, I would greatly appreciate it. Maybe they could get up with you, Winston.
That'd be good.
But Gwen Graham's phone number is 850 850-785-0812. And that is 850-785-0812. And I think the more of us that call in and express our concerns about the past, the more things will happen.
Yeah. And I want to mention Alex Quintana. He's a local boy. I had him in class. He took out to where at Mosley. A great kid, and he's her. I didn't know he was her age.
Yeah,
I saw him at Appalachian Go Seafood Festival last year. I said, "You got to be kidding."
He's their field representative.
Yeah, great. That's good. So he knows the area.
He does. And but like I say, guys, I'm just a concerned pawpaw.
Yeah.
I'm not an attorney. I'm not a lawyer, or I don't have a lot of money. But I'm concerned about our community.
And the big thing too, not only we have the concern here, we've had a windfall, getting back to that restore money. So it's not tax money coming out of anybody's pockets. That's money coming from BP. And that money there's no reason why it should not go to something like this.
I think so.
What we've got to do, and you know, we're talking about this Panhandle Outdoors viewership audience, we're real people. And we do real things like taking grandkids out to the jetties to go swimming. These are real things we do. And this, we're sort of been, you know, a lot of this money goes toward tourist this and tourist that. This is, you know, and tourists can use, a lot of tourists use this, but a lot of locals use it too, but it's good for everybody.
Yeah.
So let's get behind Kenny, and next time you go to county commission meeting, I may go with you.
Okay.
I may be jumping up and down and hollering too.
And I got to truthfully say, the commissioners have been real nice to me, and everybody listens. But I've not heard a commitment as far as where we can get the money.
That's the difference between the chicken and the pig. When the pig is gone, they're committed for that breakfast, but the chicken's got to come back. So that's good. So we're gonna wrap things up, Kenny. Really good stuff. As your friend, I appreciate you doing this and taking initiative to do it.
I appreciate it, Winston.
So thank you so much.
Yep.
And let's support Kenny on this effort here. It's something good for everyone, okay? And speaking of everyone, I want everyone to do something good for your fellow man today. Do something like this, okay? It's a good cause. So you have a great day. Do something good in outdoors, and may God bless you.
Thanks for joining us for Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester. Panhandle Outdoors features hunting, fishing, and other activities and information to help you enjoy the great outdoors. Join us next time for Panhandle Outdoors.